Joey Arnold, how big is the internet? I have no idea. Go on, stop watching this video. I'm just gonna say a few things about that. It depends on what you mean by the internet, because there's a couple different things or parts of the internet. Like there's the surface web, and then there's like the dark webs and the deep webs, and then there's like the internet of things, and there's all these different words and stuff that people use, like the World Wide Web and the internet, and all those words are basically the same. They're probably synonyms. But then you got other words that are a little bit different, and so they describe things that are a little bit different. If you don't already know, the dark webs and the deep webs, they're all about websites, web pages, and stuff that are usually or generally not indexed by a what do you call it? A search engine like Yahoo or Google or Bing or DuckDuckGo. Indexed. So what does that mean? It means that they don't get it. They don't have it. They don't. A search engine doesn't have it usually. That means indexed. If they don't have it, then you can't find it. You go to Google.com. You try to type in something. It's not gonna give you a particular item, a particular web page or something, if they don't have it. They have to get it. They get it with the help of a web crawler. I think that's what they call it usually, like a web crawler, some kind of bot, some kind of AI, some kind of program, just a line of code, and so. So, the website, not the website, the internet is it's like whatever you can find through a search engine. That's what the internet is usually. That's what people refer to as the internet. But then there's like the dark webs and the deep webs and God knows what else. I don't know. The Internet of Things is also kind of connected to it, because that has to do with apps and not apps. Why did I say apps? Maybe like apps, but it has to do with anything that's connected to the internet. So it kind of is the internet, but not necessarily. Depends on how far we want to take it, because we're talking about smart cars, not just smartphones, but refrigerators, smart meters. All these different things that may be connected to the internet, and probably might include power plants. I don't know. Do you really want infrastructure to be connected to the internet so that hackers can come in and blow you up, kind of thing? I would say it's a really dangerous thing. In regards to the Internet of Things, how far do you take it? How connected to everything is that the IoT and the Internet of Things? And let me rock in my rocking chair. I'm in a rocking chair. It's not really a rocking chair. It's just a recliner. Let me go look at my notes. I wrote it down. I was doing some investigating today because I was working on putting Linux on my phone, which I've never done before, and I wanted to make sure I had everything right. So I'm looking up some information about the hardware, not just software. Hardware is very important. You put software onto the hardware, but you want to make sure it's compatible. And some software might not be compatible with some hardware. Hardware is the physical stuff. Software is the program that is installed onto the hardware. It's very confusing for some people sometimes. I gather. Not so much for me. Or sometimes, I guess. I'm still learning a lot of things. And I'm looking at this, and here are some of the notes that I got before me about how big is the internet. What What does it say? First off, I was looking up how fast is the fastest computer, and apparently there is a computer in Japan. It's called Fugaku. I don't know how to say that, but it's some kind of computer in Japan, and the speed is up to 2.2. What am I saying? Why am I doing this? Let me just say, sorry. 2 Exa-Flops. What is an Exa-Flop? Well, Exa-Flop. Well, flop has to do with like how many instructions per second. Wow, how do people talk on the internet? Am I on the internet? Is this real life? Let me start over. I can't believe I can actually not say things. It happens. It doesn't really matter that much, but I think that if I try to make a big deal about something, then I end up not talking correctly. Imagine if I was a computer, I would screw everything up. Yeah. The fastest computer in the world, according to this, speeds up to 2 Exa-Flops. And then what is an Exa-Flop? An Exa-Flop is capable of performing 1 quintillion floating point operations per second. Wow, second per second. I didn't know that second was a hard word to say till now. So that got me by surprise. If I was a computer, I'd be tripping. Because, with all the data being thrown at me, I'd be like, what do I do with this? Or what do I do with that? I wasn't able to handle one little word, second. And computers have to deal with a lot of stuff every second. It's incredible. So 1 E-flop is equivalent to 1,000 P-flops. So it's a lot. And then so how much is that? What is an E-flop? Like how many stuff is that? Like how long would it take to do that many calculations? Well, if you were to do that many, you would have to perform 1 calculation every second for 31 billion years. Let's see. What is a quintillion? Quintillion is 2 levels above a trillion. So a quintillion has 18 zeros. Trillion has 12 zeros. Yeah. So really fast. I don't have the exact calculation to how it relates to like how many terabytes per second is it. But it's not using that kind of measurement. It's not using like how many gigabytes, how many terabytes, how many megabytes, how many kilobytes per second. It's using a different measurement for how many instructions per second, not how many bytes per second. It's a different kind of measurement that may not necessarily translate into bytes per second, even though it might be possible to translate or to compare. It's a little bit difficult. I try to compare things because I want to start off with something that I know, and I know terabytes per second, and I don't know these flops. Like, it's a funny word, flop. Like, I just think about flopping around. And then I was looking up what is the biggest computer, not just like the fastest computer. That's interesting because that computer in Japan is fast, but it's not big because it only has like a one terabyte hard drive. But it's calculating through a lot of things every second. And that's the point, I guess. It's going through a lot of stuff and making decisions and I don't know what, I mean, but it's doing a bunch of calculations and stuff. And that's what fast computers do. But as far as like big computers with a lot of stories, they would be more like data centers that you can find all around the world. And the largest data center in the world as of 2014 was probably the one in Utah in America, the Utah data center. That might be related to this what am I saying, CSI? Oh man, watching too much TV. No, I don't watch TV. The CIA is what I wanted to say. I don't know if it's related or not. Maybe not. I was just looking at an article that said it, but the article was pretty badly written. So then I left. So as of 2014, the Utah data center had up to 12 exabytes of stories. They had the warehouses storing all the servers or the computers with all the hard drives that could collect all that data, all those mini bytes. It's like millions of square feet or something. It's a lot of space to put all the what do you call them again? Servers. And that's what a data center is. And so you're wondering what's an exabyte? Well, it's similar to the Exa-Flop thing that I said a second ago. Like an Exa-Flop is a big thing. It has to do with a really big number, and like 2 levels above terabyte. Like tera, like what's the number again? I forget. I already forgot. But let's just say, what is an exabyte? An exabyte is 2 levels above terabyte, and which is a level above gigabyte, which is a level above megabyte, which is a level above kilobyte, which is a level over a byte. And a byte is not the same as a bit. So in other words, like 1 exabyte is like 1,000,000 terabytes, I think. Is that right? And then I went to Treehouse, Hoz, H-O-Z, Treehouse website. Okay, so it said as of 2020, Facebook has a total of at least 300 petabytes of data. And then I was thinking to myself, if everybody on the planet, let's say around 8 billion people, had 10 terabytes of storage online, how much would that be in total? That would be 8 billion times 10 terabytes. And that would equal to 8E plus 22 zeros, I think. Or in other words, 80 billion terabytes, or 80 zettabytes, roughly speaking. I could be wrong, but something like that. And I think that's a pretty good estimate to say, you know, like if you could give everybody enough stories, how much would you? But not everybody's on the internet all the time, or can. They say there's around 4 billion people on the internet, I don't know, every month or something. So like half the population of the world. And so how big is the internet? And according to the livecounter.com, it said the internet might be around 21 petabytes in 2022 right now. And according to techjury.net, what did it say? I didn't write it down. Probably something similar. How many web pages are there? One website, the website setup.org, said probably around 1.7 billion web pages and websites. And then starry.com said 5.85 billion web pages. How much traffic? Perhaps every year, the estimate, according to Cisco, as of 2016, the internet traffic was around 1.1 zettabytes per year. And as of 2022, it is predicted to be that it will be around 4,800 zettabytes per year of traffic. And that's a lot. And how many different TLDs are there? What's a TLD? What is a TLD? Oh, here it is. It's called a top-level domain. That's the last three letters to a domain name, to a website URL address. Not the last. I mean, a URL address is gonna have something after it sometimes, or most of the time. But basically, the end of a domain name is a domain extension, or TLD, I believe. And if I'm right about that, then that's what I'm gonna call it. I didn't know what it was called for the longest time. Like the last 20 years, I didn't really. I mean, I knew what it was called, sort of, but I wanted to have a better word or abbreviation for it, and I think I got it now. And I guess I should have found out before, but I didn't. Now I got it. I think it's simple to say TLD. It's important for me because I don't want to confuse myself with other things. Because, it's all, confusing when you're talking about like URLs and domain names and all these different things. It's like it's really easy to confuse one thing for the other, to conflate one thing with the other. And it's simple to have a label to describe something. And because like a web address has several different parts, and there's like the first part, and that has to do with the protocol, and then there's the actual domain name, and then there's the ending. And sometimes people say things like they'll just say the word domain to describe the domain name, and then they want to talk about the ending part. And sometimes they might just say domain to describe it, but you may not necessarily know which one they're talking about. Are they talking about the domain name or the domain extension? And I guess you can just say domain name and domain extension. For example, www.godaddy.com. Those are the three parts to a website. First part is the protocol, www. That's the protocol. Another protocol is HTTP or HTTPS. And then there's FTP. And there's a couple different other protocols. And that has to do with like code, programming. It has to do with how the computers online are going to communicate with each other, basically. I guess I don't totally know how it all works, but it's using a protocol to transmit the data, because you have to connect, and you have to, you're basically, downloading the website into your web browser. And web browser is just like a reader. It's like an internet reader. It's not exactly a PDF reader, and it's not exactly a Word document reader. It's a website reader. It's a web page reader, and that's what I mean. That's the job of a web browser like Firefox or Safari or Internet Explorer or whatever else they have, Brave, and so it's like it has to open the website, and the website is basically like a file or a series of files, and it's probably on another computer because it's on the if it's on the internet, then it's somewhere else. It's not on your computer. And so you have to get on the internet, and you have to grab the file, grab the files, basically. And that's the job of the web browser. And so the web browser is like trying to get to it, but it has to use the protocol to be able to get to it and to be able to open it, depending on the kind of files it is. And different websites can have different files. I mean, it could be a different file type. Different kind of program. Different kind of file format, type or format. And so you may need different protocol, or perhaps all the protocols can do it. And I may be really badly explaining this, and this video is not supposed to be me talking about that, but I thought it was really interesting, and I thought that it's important to talk about. I don't know how many people talk about that kind of stuff, but I wanted to talk about it because I thought it was interesting, and I was looking at this, and I wanted to do a video about how big is the internet. And I was looking at all these other things, and I thought it was interesting. And I thought that TLD is pretty cool, the domain extension. And how many different domain extensions are there as of today? This one website said there may be over 1,500 domain extensions. Like .com or .gov or .edu or .org. Those are extensions or TLDs. It's a TLD or domain extension. That's all I wanted to say. I thought it was informational. Educational is what I wanted to say. I thought it was educational. Perhaps not entertainmental, but educational. And I think it's really interesting thinking about what is the internet and how does it work and all that. I think there's a lot that we don't know, because it's like, why would they tell us, kind of thing. And it blows my mind away. I don't know, like, how many companies and governments are like spying on people, or taking in the data, copying the data from websites and videos and whatever they can find from your phone, your computer. Are they, mirroring things, cloning, copying onto their data centers? What is the CIA doing? What is the FBI doing? What are the other countries doing? Private corporations and whatever else there may be out there. Aliens. Let's not talk about aliens. They could be doing stuff too, but it's like the internet is not just what you put on the internet, but also the copies of that. And it also may include, like recorded phone calls, and they've been wiretapping on and off for so many years, and like even before the internet, they've been doing this, perhaps not all the time, but they have the ability. And like there are microphones inside cable boxes going back to at least to the 90s, and so they do try to collect data. And I'm not going to say that they're always doing it, but just the ability to do it so that they can do it whenever they want to is a lot of power, and they could use that to blackmail or to strategize. They could try to improve their AI systems to target ads and whatever else they want to do. They can weaponize a lot of things. I think it's pretty devastating, and it's kind of cool. I think the internet is a good thing that we got. I'm just thinking out loud right now, and I think there's a lot that we don't know as far as like how much of it that they have and who has what. And with all the videos that I've lost on YouTube, I would love to get them back, and I'm sure if they have copies of that, I would love to get it back. And I'll forgive you for making a copy, because it's like I just want it. I just want a copy of it because I lost it. I think the internet is really cool, really cool. But then you got all this other stuff coming up too, was I didn't even mention, the VR, virtual reality, the Matrix, the metaverse, all of those things. And that would be even more data, a lot more data than ever before, more than you can ever imagine, especially as people begin to live on the internet more and more and more and more. Then you become a fat person in Wall-E.